Hey, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, but you can call me Pajama Grandma. Today I want to just share some kind of behind the scenes secrets. I want to spill some secrets about what I do and how I do it because people have been asking, and we tend to, as business owners, as human beings, as women, not share some of the things that work for us and some of the things that don't work for us and some of the things that we've tried that have just failed. And I've been trying to do that and attempting to do that throughout this daily journaling of transitioning from my old life to my new life and creating my new life. And I wanted to share a couple of the things that I do to keep me motivated and keep me going and that have worked for me and things that I've learned from other people that have really served me well. Now, they all boil down to habits and rituals for the most part. I am one of those people that is extremely chaotic and not disorganized. I just have way too many things going on all the time and I have to find structure and organization in those things to make my life work. And so I am one of those people that has a morning ritual. I have a morning ritual that I follow every single day. The first secret to that is as soon as your alarm clock goes off, if you use an alarm clock, you get out of bed. You don't hit snooze. You don't lay around and think about getting up or think about all the things you have to do. I hit the floor. As soon as that goes off, I hit the floor. Now, it took me years to be able to do that. I remember in college, so that I would make it to classes, I would actually set this obnoxious, loudest, most terrible, obnoxious alarm clock that I had gotten from my parents when they traveled to Japan one time. It was a beautiful clock, but it had a terrible loud ring. It was the kind you had to crank up every night. Remember those? And so I would crank up that clock and I had to put it all the way across the room so that I would wake up. So not only did it wake me up, but it annoyed the daylights out of my roommate when it went off. So I had to make sure that I ran across the room and I turned off that alarm clock as quickly as possible. So that's how I trained myself to, as soon as that alarm clock goes off in the morning, get out of bed. The hardest thing you will do every single day for some of us with chronic pain is to actually physically get out of bed. But it's not even for those of us with chronic pain. It's everybody. I watch other people in my life struggle with getting up in the morning, getting out of bed. And I tell them, the hardest thing you're going to do any single day is get out of bed. And it's so true. Once we get out of bed, we've got that momentum and we're moving. We're actually moving and doing things. And so I'm telling you, if you can master just as soon as that clock goes off, getting out of bed, not making excuses, not saying, oh, 5 more minutes. And we've all done it. I was really guilty of it. But I learned the power of committing to myself that I was going to do something, and just getting out of the bed starts my day in a positive way. The other thing I learned from my son, and I think he probably got it from Tony Robbins, is you make your bed every day. You make your bed every morning, because as soon as you get out of bed, you make your bed, because number one, you're not going to climb back in it and mess your bed all up. And number two, you've actually accomplished 2 things already before you've even really started your day. You've kept your word to yourself and you've hopped out of bed and you've made your bed. So you have created something, some, consistency, and taken action in a way that serves you. And I didn't think that was that powerful. I used to be one of those people that would get out of bed and just leave the bed however I left it. And if I got around to making it during the day, great. If I didn't, I just crawled in it later the next night, because I was running through my life. And my son taught me the power of making my bed, and I didn't think it would make a difference, but it actually made me feel better. It made me feel like, oh, I've accomplished something. So if something else happened, if I stubbed my toe or something tried to knock me off my track, well, I already had 2 accomplishments under my belt. So then I have a whole other morning routine, and I won't go into all of that, but there's tricks I do to wake myself up really, really quickly. My one is I have a trigger of brushing my teeth. I can be tireder, or I can have had no sleep, but if I brush my teeth, it automatically wakes me up, because I've trained my brain to know that brushing my teeth wakes me up. Another thing, I do affirmations, and I call them afformations because it's a way of wording affirmations that's different and plays differently on different levels of our consciousness. I do that. And another trick I learned from my son is actually to record your goals or your affirmations. And I do affirmations and some goals, things I'm working on, and visualization. Make a recording in your own voice of that and listen to that. So every morning as I am brushing my teeth, I used to read them, but since my eyes are horrible and I have to use a magnifying glass to do anything, I can't be doing my face, doing my hair, and reading my affirmations with a magnifying glass. Yes, I am one of those people that had Post-it notes on my mirrors. I don't now, but I did for the longest time because I was reading them every day. Every morning I would read them and go over them. Well, since my eyes are bad, I took my son up and I listened to what he said about making a recording of it. I just did a recording on my cell phone on a free app. I can't even remember what it was called, voice recorder, I think. And I just pushed that on repeat. And now, instead of just reading my affirmations once in the morning, I can actually listen to them like 5 times or so as I am getting ready in the morning. So that, again, allows me to feed my brain positive things in my own voice. And it helps me to visualize and plan and create the future and the things that I want. So I have tons of little technological secrets that I would love to share, but this would get really, really long. But one thing I've learned is that things are always changing. Things are always going to change. Just this week, YouTube told me that I couldn't make YouTube live videos on my phone because I didn't have 1,000 subscribers. Never paid attention to YouTube, so I think I've got like 47 subscribers. So I got a long way to go to 1,000. So I needed to yesterday, actually the day, what was yesterday, Friday? Yes, yesterday I needed to figure out an alternative to streaming on my phone. Now I love my cell phone and making lives because it's super duper easy. I pick up my phone, I start talking. Well, YouTube says, nope, you can't do that because you don't have 1,000 subscribers. So my goal, of course, is to get to 1,000 subscribers, right? But in the meantime, I need a solution because I'm starting a 90-day challenge with a lady in a couple, under a week, and I want to do YouTube live for that. Well, so yesterday I had to spend a little time. I looked at one solution, streaming OBS, and I got a weird background that I didn't like, and I don't know how to get rid of it. I didn't want to spend the time figuring out how to get rid of it. And then I remembered, oh my God, I have a StreamYard. So I used StreamYard, made the video, and I'll use StreamYard again today and figure out if that's going to be the way that I can stream into YouTube quickly and easily and achieve what I want for the 90-day challenge coming up. And I think my 90-day challenge goal has to be to get 1,000 subscribers, right? I need 1,000 subscribers so I can go back to doing it on my phone because it's just so much faster and easier, and I can do it anywhere. That's what I love about the technology today. But my whole point is things are changing all the time at the drop of a hat. I went to make my YouTube live video yesterday morning and it said, oh, sorry, warning, you cannot do this anymore because you don't have 1,000 subscribers. And I'm like, okay, cool. I will solve that problem. But what am I going to do in the meantime? And I always have what am I going to do next? Or, all right, you say I can't do this, but guess what? I can. I'm going to figure it out. And I know that I'll always figure it out. It actually didn't take me that long to figure that out. So just adopt the philosophy of knowing you might not know the answer right now, but you'll figure it out. And if you just have that open-minded approach to things, you might not actually figure it out, but the right person or the right book or the right article or the right whatever, the answer will come to you somehow. I totally believe that because I've seen it in so many examples in my life. Another couple things that I do that I may or may not have shared already is in order to keep my brain focused and positive, because I don't know why, but sometimes I think negatively, I do things that help me to maintain it and stay positive. I love these card decks. There's these card decks, and I probably have 25 or 30 of them. I started buying them. I think the first one I got was probably from Louise Hay. Something about you can heal your life, or I don't know. I don't even remember what it was, but I think the first deck I got was from her at the old-fashioned Barnes & Noble bookstore. And then I discovered online and followed Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, and all of some of my favorite personal development characters for years, and started getting these little books. I love these little books. I've got several of these as well. And so sometimes I just like to, in the morning, first thing in the morning, before I start doing my video or producing my content or anything, give myself a little dose of positive messages. Sometimes I'll shuffle up a deck. Like I'm going through, what deck am I going through right now? I don't always have a deck, but sometimes when I know that I need a little bit of positivity, oh, this one's well-being cards. So these are the teachings of Abraham, the well-being cards. And I'm going through them. Sometimes I'll shuffle up the deck and I'll pick a random card, or I'll open it up and pick a random card. Other times I just shuffle the deck, stick it in the box, and I'll just grab the top one. And so I'll grab the top one and it'll give me a message. Today's, for example, is seeking approval of others hinders my joyousness. Now, usually I can find a reason that I pulled that particular message. And we almost always can, because they're pretty general to all human beings, right? And we all need to increase our well-being. And this one says, if the way you feel depends on anything outside of you, you're in trouble. But if you depend only upon your connection with your own inner being, then everything in your experience falls into alignment. Now, that might be woo-woo for a lot of you, but for me, through what I've been through my life and through my journey and through my studying, I'm okay with woo-woo. I'm still here talking to you, and so woo-woo is cool for me. And then I like to look at, sometimes I need more than one thing, but I usually will grab a card like this, and I like to carry these throughout my day. So if something happens that kind of tips me over or irritates me, I can pull out my card and I can remind myself, okay, guess what? Seeking approval from others will hinder my joyousness. Do I want to hinder my joyousness and be upset about how so-and-so is behaving? Or do I just want to blow it off and laugh? This little strategy helps me to deal with the haters and people that don't like us or give us negative feedback based on just who we are for no reason whatsoever. I find it's really interesting to me. I've been observing, and women, believe it or not, take more crap and get more haters than men do online. I don't know why that is. Maybe because other people think that they have the right to just judge us more often or not, but they tend to judge us on things that are ridiculous and outside of our control. And those things just in one ear, out the other. But these little secrets and strategies have helped me to be that way, to realize that what other people think doesn't matter. What they're saying to me is not really about me at all. It's a reflection of them and something that's going on in their life. If somebody tells me I am up in line for the Wizard of Oz, Wicked Witch under the house because I'm so ugly, I just laugh now. I remember I got that. That's my favorite. That's my favorite hater so far, because this guy had to actually take time to go and watch some of my videos to come up with that I was the Wicked Witch of the Wizard of Oz. So that was pretty funny. The other thing I do sometimes is I'll add these little books. Like this one is Wayne Dyer's Everyday Wisdom for Success. And I've actually started reading it for one of my coaching students because I wanted to give them some insight. And I always like to have another person besides just me as the source of insight, just because I think it adds more credibility to what I'm saying. It's like, no, I didn't make this up. Guess what? So-and-so actually said this first, and this is who I learned it from. I learned this from Tony Robbins. I learned this from Wayne Dyer. I learned this from Louise Hay. I once heard this from so-and-so, depending on what it is. And I don't need that credibility, but sometimes other people do. So I want to have that at my fingertips. So I like to read things like this. And today's is, when you become certain that nothing is impossible for you, you'll attain everything you desire. So, you know, sometimes we think that we can't do things or that things aren't possible for us. Yeah, other people are making $1 billion, but I couldn't possibly make $1 billion. And then we just look around and remind ourselves that if we know for certain that it's possible for us, we can actually make that happen in our lives. If I know for certain that I can influence 1,000 people, if I know for certain I can help 1,000 people, then that becomes my reality. I can for sure make that happen. If I doubt it, I won't take the action or the steps that are necessary to make that thing happen. If I want a new dress and I know for certain I can go get a new dress, I'll make that happen. If for some reason I believe I can't afford it or I don't deserve a new dress, I won't go get a new dress. I'll find reasons and excuses to not go do it. It works for everything in our life that way. So these are just some of the things that I do, some of the things that work for me to help me to be successful and to enjoy my life. And I just wanted to share them with you today, just as something different, instead of, you know, complaining about what is or isn't working in the business, because there's always things that are working. There's always things that are not working. There's always things that could be better. That is the nature of our businesses. That is the nature of our life, whether it's online or offline, whether it's, you know, new or whether we've been in business for decades, whether we're young or old. It's the nature of not just our businesses, but also of our lives. Things are always changing. They will always change. That's why it's so important to just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the learning. Enjoy every step of the process. Even the ones that don't work. Those are the ones that teach us the most. That's it. Go out, make it an awesome day. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.